Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. My mother died when I was 10. I don't talk about it much, not because I've forgotten her, but because remembering her still hurts. She wasn't just my mother. She was my best friend, my safe place, my whole world. And when cancer took her, it took a part of me too. My dad was broken after she died, and I was too young to help him put the pieces back together. He met my stepmother, Claire, about 2 years later. Claire was polite. Too polite. She was the type of woman who smiled with her teeth, but never with her eyes. I always had the feeling she didn't like me. At first I thought maybe it was just the awkwardness of blending families. But over the years, I realized it was more than that. She didn't like that I existed. She didn't like that I was a living, breathing reminder that my father had once loved someone else, someone he loved deeply. Still, I tried. I truly did, for my father's sake. I bit my tongue every time she made little jabs at my mother's old-fashioned taste, or her dusty photos, or the clutter she had left behind. And I never said anything when she slowly replaced everything in the house with her own vision, throwing out Mom's heirloom dishes, repainting the walls, even donating her books. But there was one thing I never let her touch: my mother's wedding dress. I kept it in a cedar box at the back of my closet. I wasn't even sure if I'd wear it one day, but it was the last thing of hers I could truly call sacred. She'd shown it to me once when I was 7. I remember her gently unfolding it, her eyes sparkling, telling me how her mother had helped her sew the lace trim. It was simple, elegant, timeless. It smelled like her perfume. When I got engaged, I didn't hesitate. I told my father and Claire that I was going to wear my mother's wedding dress. And, surprisingly, Claire smiled and said, "That's sweet." She even offered to help me have it steamed and adjusted. I was cautious, but I agreed, stupidly thinking maybe, just maybe, she was trying to make an effort now that I was about to start my own family. I should have known better. 2 weeks before my wedding, we had a small pre-wedding brunch at my dad and Claire's house. Nothing fancy, just coffee, pastries, catching up with a few relatives. Claire invited me to bring the dress over so we could have a look at the hem together. My gut twisted when she said it, but I ignored it. I thought I was being paranoid. I brought the dress, hung it in the guest room, and went to the kitchen to get a plate. When I returned, I walked in on Claire walking towards the dress, holding a mug of steaming coffee in one hand. I didn't even have time to say a word before she tripped. She let out a loud, exaggerated yelp, stumbled forward, and splashed her entire mug of coffee directly onto the dress. Scalding black liquid soaked through the lace bodice, dripping down in slow horror. The smell of coffee filled the room as I stood frozen, my mouth open in shock. Claire gasped, dropped the mug. It shattered. And then she started crying. "Oh no! No, no, no! I'm such a klutz!" she wailed, cradling her hands like she was hurt. "I'm so sorry. I'll pay for a new dress. I didn't mean to. I promise I'll make it right. Please, please don't be mad. Your mother would hate to see you upset right now." That last line sent a chill down my spine. I didn't scream. I didn't lash out. I couldn't. Something inside me was cracking, but I held it together. My father came rushing in, took one look, and immediately started comforting her. She milked the tears, claimed she slipped, cried into his shoulder, and he just patted her back, nodding along like it all made perfect sense. I barely spoke the rest of the day. I took the dress home, now stiff and brown-stained, and cried for hours. I knew it wasn't an accident. I knew in my bones. Claire tripped on purpose. She didn't even try to avoid it. She wanted to destroy the last thing I had of my mother, and she succeeded. 3 days later, I received a text from Claire, but it seemed like it was meant for someone else. It said, "I couldn't let her walk down the aisle in that dress, holding his hand. It would have brought back too many memories for him. Of her. I know how much he loved her, and I can't stand any reminder of that woman." I did what I had to do. Then she deleted the message, clearly after realizing she sent it to the wrong person. But not before I took a screenshot. I didn't reply. I didn't confront her. I didn't even show my father, because I already knew how that conversation would go. He would find a way to rationalize it, twist it, excuse it, because Claire had him wrapped around her little finger, and I was just the dramatic daughter who still hadn't let go of the past. So I bought my own dress. It was beautiful, different from what I'd planned, but I didn't have any other choice. And I walked down the aisle in it, knowing my mother would have told me to hold my head high and not let anyone ruin my day. I married the love of my life, a brilliant, kind, driven man named Ethan, who owns a successful marketing company. He's my rock. That was a year ago. Then came the dinner. My stepsister, Claire's daughter from her first marriage. Lily, just graduated with a marketing degree. She's bright, I'll give her that, and very confident, almost entitled. Claire hosted a celebratory dinner and invited both Ethan and me. I didn't want to go, but Ethan, ever the diplomat, said we should go just to show face and be civil. "We don't have to stay long," he said, "just in and out." Dinner started off polite enough. Small talk, Lily bragging about her GPA and her innovative final project that was just a rebrand of an old campaign. Claire was glowing with pride. Then, mid-meal, Claire clinked her glass and said, "We actually have an idea. Since Lily is newly graduated and your husband's company is doing so well, maybe he could offer her a junior position. She's passionate, creative, and it would be so meaningful to work in a family setting. Right, honey?" She looked directly at me as she said it. I couldn't help it. I laughed. I laughed so hard I had to put my fork down. Claire blinked. "What's funny?" I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You seriously think I'd ask my husband to hire your daughter? After what you did? After you destroyed my mother's wedding dress out of jealousy and bitterness? You must be completely delusional." The room went silent. My father dropped his knife. Claire froze. "That's a disgusting accusation." "Oh, is it?" I said, pulling out my phone. "Because I have the message you sent me." "The one you meant to send someone else." I handed the phone to my father. He read it, twice. His face changed, his jaw clenched. But instead of reacting like any sane person would, apologizing, expressing shock, or even anger, he handed the phone back to me and said, "You don't understand. That just shows how much Claire loves me. She was trying to protect my feelings. She didn't want me to be reminded of someone I lost. That's not jealousy, that's compassion." I stared at him in disbelief. Compassion? She destroyed my dead mother's dress. She lied about it. She cried crocodile tears. And then she called my mom that woman. That's not compassion. That's vile. And you're defending it? "You owe her an apology," he said coldly. "You're trying to humiliate her at a family dinner." "Oh no," I said, rising to my feet. Ethan already grabbing his jacket. "You two are absolutely perfect for each other. Enjoy your happy little bubble of lies and narcissism." "We're leaving." Claire tried to speak. I held up my hand and said, "Don't ever contact me again." We walked out and never looked back. That was 8 months ago. I haven't spoken to my father since. He's tried reaching out a few times, mostly around holidays, but I blocked him. I know where his loyalty lies. And if he's fine sleeping next to a woman who committed emotional sabotage on his daughter's wedding, then he can rot in that decision. Lily never got a job with Ethan. He said even if I hadn't said a word, he wouldn't have hired her based on her behavior and sense of entitlement. "Bad attitude, worse judgment," he said. "She's her mother's daughter." And Claire? I've heard through the grapevine that she still plays the victim, that she cries about how cruel I was, how I misread a clumsy accident, how I don't care about Lily's future. Let them talk. Let them cry, because I still have the screenshot, and I still have my spine. So now I ask, am I the asshole for publicly confronting my stepmother and refusing to help her daughter after what she did? not the a-hole. Let's get one thing straight. This wasn't some harmless accident. She didn't spill coffee. She executed a mission. Claire deliberately destroyed a sacred emotional connection between OP and your late mother. And the fact that she had the nerve to cry crocodile tears while pretending to be the victim. That's not just manipulation. That's evil. Then to text her real thoughts, saying she couldn't let OP walk down the aisle, reminding her father of his late wife, just proves this was premeditated emotional sabotage. And OP's dad defending her. That's not love. That's willful blindness. OP was absolutely right to call her out and cut ties. Some people only understand consequences when the door finally slams shut. And now let's hear community's opinion. The fact that you kept that screenshot is everything. It's like the universe handed you the mask she accidentally dropped. Claire didn't just sabotage a dress. She tried to erase your mother from her own husband's memory. That's not insecurity. That's obsession. She couldn't stand the idea that even in death, your mother held a piece of your father's heart. So she targeted the one tangible thing that linked you both. And then, after all that, she turns around and asks for a favor? Entitled doesn't even begin to cover it. Your father siding with her after reading the message is just the icing on the betrayal cake. You showed incredible restraint. I would have thrown the entire dinner table. Go live your life in peace. Claire and her daughter can enjoy the view from the burned bridge. This was never about coffee. This was a power play dressed as a clumsy moment. Claire wanted control. Control over the narrative, control over your father's memories, and control over your wedding. She couldn't handle being reminded that she came second. And your mother's dress. It was a symbol of everything she could never be. That's why she had to destroy it. But what really takes the cake is her having the sheer audacity to ask you to help her daughter. Like nothing happened. Like she didn't stomp all over your memories and lie through her teeth. I don't care how many tears she cried. She knew exactly what she was doing. And your father excusing it? That's just as sick. You're not heartless. You're the only one with a functioning moral compass. Your stepmother was competing with a ghost and losing. So instead of dealing with her insecurities like an adult, she chose to eliminate the reminder of the woman your father truly loved. That wasn't an accident. That was a declaration of war. And your father? He showed you exactly who he is the moment he defended her after reading the evidence. That's how much she loves me? No, that's how much she hates your mother. He didn't just dismiss your pain. He gaslit you. You owe them nothing. Not a job, not a seat at your table, not even a second thought. You reclaimed your wedding, your dignity, and your peace. Let them sit in the silence they created. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and to make college more easily accessible for her, my ex-wife and I each put money into a shared fund for her. My ex-wife and I do not get along, but we make an effort for the sake of our daughter. At the end of last year, my car basically blew up, completely blew a gasket, broke down every time I drove it, and ended up being written off. My current wife and I decided to save for a new car and to wait for one I was sure I wanted, as I loved my old car. On my way home from work, I drive past a really high-end car dealership. Basically sells vintage top-class cars. They're absolutely beautiful, but I've never went in because they're extremely expensive. A few days ago, I drove past it and thought, why not? I'll have a look and just not buy anything. I walked in and saw a truly beautiful Mustang, rang my wife and told her I'd found the car I wanted. We hadn't saved enough, so I used the money from our savings, and without thinking, I dipped into the college fund my ex and I have for our daughter. It was just under $15,000. I rang my ex-wife after I'd bought it to tell her, and assured her I'd put the money back in. But she went ballistic, telling me that she'd basically just paid for my car, as she puts more money in monthly than I do. I said that was ridiculous, and that it doesn't matter because it's my money too. She's now going on about suing me and all sorts, which is just ridiculous. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You could have bought a car that was more than enough for your needs for a much, much lower price. You took that money and spent it on a vanity, not a necessity. I hope she sues you, dude. You're the a-hole. Your daughter's future comes before any car, period. But you just squandered that for a car you had to have. Doesn't sound like you were going to be able to put that money back all that fast either, since this was the money two people put in over 8 years. Also, your daughter will hear about what you did. So have fun trying to save that relationship in the future. You're the a-hole. This wasn't your money. It was joint money with an agreement of how it is to be spent. You are either really stupid, really lack accountability, or are trolling. Shared money in a divorce? Bad thinking. What does the divorce settlement say about this money? Divorce settlements are basically court orders. If you broke an agreement in there, you aren't just pissing off your ex. You are breaking the law and pissing off a judge. Your ex can let the judge know you broke the agreement. My fiance, Kyle, 28 male, and I, 26 female, have been dating for almost 2 years and are getting married in June. We booked a beautiful country barn venue. All the catering and photographers has been worked out, and this is going to be a beautiful summer wedding that everyone will enjoy. The way I met Kyle was through my younger sister, Courtney, 24 female. She used to date my fiance's younger brother, Tanner, 25 male, and they were together for 3 years. Kyle and I met at an ugly sweater Christmas party both of our families came to, and we basically fell in love at first sight. We hooked up that same night, and I just knew he was the right man for me right away. He is perfect in every way. Anyway, over the weekend, Tanner broke up with Courtney. Tanner got all angry at her, accused her of repeatedly cheating on him with his boss, and refused to forgive her when she apologized and swore she would stop. He wants nothing to do with her. The reason this breakup is so important is because Courtney is going to be my maid of honor, and Kyle picked Tanner to be his best man. Tanner stopped by me in Kyle's apartment last night while Kyle was still at work. He told me that because Court cheated on him, which hurt his feelings, I should kick her out of my wedding party and ban her from the wedding. He said I can promote one of my bridesmaids to become the replacement maid of honor. However, I said Court is my baby sister, and I love her to death. She's going to be my maid of honor no matter what. I can't kick her out of my wedding just because she had a couple moments of weakness. I told him that if anything, it should be you who shouldn't come because you're the one who has hurt feelings and is making these outrageous demands. Court has no problem seeing him there. It's you who has the problem. So I told him his invitation is revoked since it's such a big deal, and my family is paying for the wedding, so I can unilaterally ban whomever I want. He started tearing up and just left, saying it's heartless for me to ban him. When Kyle came home, he was very upset. He's on Tanner's side, and he urged me to reconsider. So, am I the a-hole for banning Tanner from the wedding? You're the a-hole. Your sister cheated on him, repeatedly, with his boss, and you want him banned from the wedding? No. Your sister ducked up, and she shouldn't be there. You taking your cheating sister's side on this should be a huge red flag for your fiancé. I'd reconsider the marriage if I were him. You're the a-hole. 1. You for wanting to ban the victim, his brother, of this situation. 2. Your sister. Sister or not, she was wrong on so many levels, and you can still love your sister while looking at the bigger picture here. She cheated on him with his boss. It doesn't just affect their relationship, but this will now affect you and your family's relationship with your fiancé and in-laws forever. It will affect your marriage. It's already affecting your relationship with your fiancé. She is not the victim, and the situation she created will now affect your wedding. Do you think his family will want to see her front and center? Will his family refuse to come if she is there? Don't you think this situation is going to be more talked about at your wedding instead of it being about you and your fiancé? The fact is that if your fiancé cheated on you with your boss or his brother cheated on your sister, you would not say it was a few moments of weakness. Honestly, if this is how you are going to be, your fiancé is lucky to find this out now so he can rid his family of yours, cause you sound like an awful person. You're the a-hole. I hope your fiancé runs. You do not unilaterally invite or uninvite anyone to your wedding without your partner getting some say, particularly not their brother. It sounds like you've not been dating long enough to be getting married anyway, as you come across particularly immature with your comments. Edit. Okay, I get it. I'm the a-hole. I'm going to apologize to Kyle and especially to Tanner. I just wanted to protect my little sister, but she really screwed up here. We will discuss, give it some time, and figure out how to proceed with the wedding party from there. My daughter, Anna, 23, has a court case coming up soon. Nothing very serious, dangerous driving, but we're all still very nervous as to the outcome. Anna was thinking today about what she wants to wear to court. Because of her profession, Recruiter. She owns a lot of smart clothing anyway, but she thought it wouldn't hurt to get something especially for court. Since a lot of the shops are shut due to the situation, Anna and I spent a few hours doing some online shopping. We checked out some smart dresses as well as some nice suits. We purchased a nice pair of heels for her and made a short list of the dresses, suits she liked the most, so she can make a decision soon. It was a pretty fun day overall. My husband heard about what we were doing and was really unhappy. He said I was making fun and games out of a serious situation. He accused me of spoiling our daughter. I don't think I'm spoiling her at all. She's never been in any trouble with the law prior to this, so it's a very unfamiliar situation for her. I was just trying to take her mind off it and make her feel better. She loves clothes and shopping, so it's the least I could do to provide a distraction. Surely that isn't a bad thing. You're the a-hole, and so is she. Not very serious. My aunt was killed because of someone driving dangerously. It is a big deal, and you're downplaying the severity by buying her new clothes and shoes. How about buying her driving lessons? When will you take it seriously? When she hurts someone? I'm gonna have to go with your husband here and say you're the a-hole. It's not wrong to want to support your kids in hard things, but your daughter screwed up royally. Being in court for dangerous driving means she literally risked the lives of herself and others doing something stupid. She loves shopping and you're spending money on her and shopping for fun to make going to court for breaking the law less painful for her? I don't think that sends the right message at all. You clearly stated she has many nice clothes. Why wouldn't they be good enough to wear to court? She made a bad decision and is going to court to determine how she ought to be punished. You're now rewarding that bad behavior. She needs to learn that actions have consequences, and those consequences should not be mommy taking you shopping for a nice court outfit. Why don't you focus on helping her improve her driving? That must be a lot more important than what she is wearing. Unless she's used to primping herself while driving, of course. Dangerous driving is a very serious issue. If you and your daughter don't understand that, neither of you should drive. You are not an a-hole for trying to cheer your daughter up, but you are an a-hole for not acknowledging that an unsafe driver is a very serious thing. And if she has put others in danger, she needs to face the consequences, no matter how pretty her shoes are. Back 4 months ago, both my husband and I landed the same job, making fantastic pay. This job pays $28 an hour, so this was huge for us. The problem is that it's overnight shifts, so we needed a sitter for the kids. We asked mother-in-law to do so. She said yes, and we told her to pick what she felt was a fair amount for payment. She said $300 on the 3-day weeks and $400 on the 4-day weeks, 12-hour shifts. I will admit I was a bit thrown off by that price, only because she didn't get here until after the kids, all over 12, were already sleeping and left before they woke up, so all she did was use our hot water, eat all our food, and sleep. I didn't say anything because it's really long hours, and we needed someone. It turned to crap quick. Every workday we get out at 5:30 and have an hour drive home. She is blowing up our phones by 5:50, 6 a.m., asking where we are and telling us to hurry up. We get home to filth, created by her because my kids are sleeping the whole time, like garbage beside the chair, sofa where she sleeps, dirty dishes everywhere, dog crap. Apparently she wasn't bringing the dog out, and found she's been letting the dog sleep on our bed. Absolute big no-no. As well as feeding our dog table scraps. I only know this because she all of a sudden begs constantly when she didn't before. Between me trying to manage this new sleeping schedule and me having to undo everything she did while here, I decided I couldn't do it. This was following her calling us out of work twice because her back hurt and she wanted to go home. So I spoke to my husband and told him I wasn't paying her to watch our kids anymore because she's creating more problems than she's worth, and that he needed to let her go. He agreed, but he didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I told him I could do it. He decided it would be better if we both did it, so we called her on speaker and told her this wasn't working out. When she asked why, we were pretty blunt in our reasoning. She trashes the house. She eats everything in sight, even stuff we said don't touch. She doesn't follow our rules about the dog, and she cost us almost $1,300 for having us leave work within an hour of being there because of her back. She starts yelling and saying she quit her job to do this. We had no idea she quit or why, considering she didn't work the days we did, and that we were heartless because this was her only income now. My husband was visibly uncomfortable, but we stood our ground. He is feeling some type of way because now he's questioning whether or not she was causing that many issues. He isn't seeing it the way I do, however, because he's not the one who deals with all the problems. I am. I do the grocery shopping and have to go several times more than I usually do after not sleeping. I'm the one who cleans. He does other chores. Am I the a-hole? He feels terrible. I do not. Not the a-hole. $100 per night to babysit 13 and 14-year-olds and be the adult present just in case something goes wrong? Hun, for that price, I'd also throw in organizing school lunches, having breakfast ready for you when you get back, and the house would be so tidy you wouldn't know I had been there. Not the a-hole. The reason you hire a babysitter is to help make your life a little easier while you take care of your business. If it's making your life harder, it's not worth paying her up the butt for. It's best to not hire family for future reference, in my opinion. Things get sticky real fast. When you agree to take care of the kids, you are also agreeing to take care of the household. It is unfair to you that you work those hours and have to come home to a dirty house caused by your mother-in-law. If this was any other job, your mother-in-law would have been fired too. There is no way any employer is going to be fine with an employee who trashes the workplace, regardless of if they get their job done or not. Not the a-hole. When my ex and I were 20, I got pregnant. We were both ecstatic. However, once I gave birth, I had severe PPD. I stupidly refused medical treatment at the time. I also got involved in a rough crowd. We went to court and I lost custody of my daughter. It gave me the wake-up call I needed, and with my parents' help, I got into rehab and counseling. I'm aware of how much I have screwed up and what a crap parent I have been. I didn't bother to keep in touch with my ex due to my shame, and I didn't feel worthy. He did try and reach out to me, but I ignored everything. However, about 6 months ago, he reached out to my parents and asked if I could maybe be talked into seeing my daughter, who is now 6. My parents convinced me that it would be good for everyone, and my therapist agreed, but to take it slow. My ex has got strict rules though. I'm not allowed to take our daughter out of the house alone, and he or his wife have to be present while I am over. I'm starting to get annoyed because every time his wife is in the house while I'm over, my daughter is more interested in her. She calls her mama, which hurts so much. I'm her mother. I know this, but my daughter still seems to act like my ex's wife is mom, and I'm just my name. I've been invited to visit for Halloween. My ex is working part of the day, and his wife will be home. I asked him if his wife could go be somewhere else, because I was tired of our daughter only wanting her when she is around. I wanted us to really have time as mother and daughter. My ex said no immediately. That wasn't the agreement, and he didn't feel comfortable yet to let our daughter be alone with me. I told him he was being cruel and unfair. This was my daughter too, and I have a right to do what I want with her. He told me that it wasn't how this worked, and we had barely scratched the surface of a relationship yet. I needed to be patient, and if I didn't like it, I was more than welcome to abandon her again or take it to court. He made the decisions when it comes to our daughter as of now, not me. Am I the a-hole for being upset and seriously considering taking him to court over this? Edit. I did not lose custody when I had her. My daughter was 2. I was in her life for 2 years before my ex left me with her. You're the a-hole. You made your choices. You didn't see her for years. Be lucky he is letting you. You're the a-hole. I'm sorry to say, but she's more your daughter's mother than you are. 6 years down the road, you're a stranger. This is what they meant by taking it slow. You have not magically earned back the right to call yourself her mother. That's up to her, not you. Your job right now is to follow their rules, so their daughter can be comfortable as she gets used to your presence in her life. If you cannot manage that much, you need to step back out and move on. You're the a-hole. You abandoned her for 6 years and refused to get back in contact, while your ex's wife actually treated her like her daughter. It's unfair to call yourself her mother, and you can't be upset that your daughter has another mother figure after you've been gone so long. You seem to be really angry that she doesn't call you mom, despite the fact that you've never acted like a mom to her. Consider the fact that you didn't want to talk to her until the father pushed, and the fact that you refused treatment for a very long time. It's obvious why they want to go slow.